Yay! And a lot of others aren't also. So you've got a nice wide variety of things. That's one thing. Two things. Next Thursday will be my flower group. So Thursday at 3. Hi, Babette. Thursday at 3 Eastern Time, I'll be doing flowers then. And one other thing, tomorrow on my Facebook page, I met online this morning a lovely artist from Rome, Italy, and she would like me to invite my friends to participate in this worldwide art project that she's doing. And all of the explanation will be on my page tomorrow, probably in the afternoon, along with a photo and what she's doing and stuff. So, if you guys would be sure to say hello, let me know how you're doing. Just go ahead and chat as much as you want. I'm going to hook this phone up and reverse it, so it's going to take me just a sec. And we're going to make strawberries a couple of different ways. And one of them, at the very end, if you feel like hanging around, you know that little carrot car that I do with the bunny in it? Well, I'll show you it after I get the other connected. We're going to make a strawberry carriage today. I thought that would be kind of fun, and it will show you the technique of how I go about making it. Hi, Donna. Hi, Linda, Ann, Rose, Patty. Oh, man, Emily. Yay, yay, yay. Go ahead and work. And don't forget that this will be on my page after we're all done. And I hope some of you will try going live, too. Let me know if you're going to do it. I love watching people work. So I'm going to flip you around. It's good seeing you. I hope everybody is healthy and as happy as possible and dealing with this garbage, and we're going to get through this, and it's going to be wonderful. So hug whoever's living with you. Yeah, I guess you can't hug your neighbor. That's not a good idea. Anyhow, we're going to reverse this now, and we'll start working. See you in a few. Bye. Okay, so I'm hooking you up. This is my messy table. Uh-oh, don't look too hard. And my phone is going into a clip. I have a little clip that's hanging from my hood vent, so you can see down here, and I thought that's the best way that I have. And it's kind of hooked through a C-clamp to help hold it in place, and it's kind of strange, but it works well enough, and that's what matters. So today we're making strawberries, as I had mentioned. And strawberries are something that I don't normally do. Usually what I do is whimsical and has eyes and is different. So we'll see how this turns out. What I did was I printed a picture of a strawberry. Oh, what a good idea, huh? A live one, a real one. And it's strawberry season here, and I love strawberries. Hope you do too. But what I do first is I notice a few things. Of course, color. We all look at color and shape. And you see how that goes in also. Well, we already can do that shape pretty well. And then there are the little seeds and the color of them. Here they don't show up as much as they're kind of a yellowy color, kind of, for the most part. But I'll show you what I did to experiment to see whether we wanted to get artsier. And we tend to make our leaves go down on our beads, don't we, instead of having them stick up. So we might do a combination of both. And I'm looking at the color also. So we're looking at the strawberries. That's one of the first pictures I looked at. And then I wanted to look at another, and you can see how bright yellow those seeds are. Some other things that I noticed is we tend to be very symmetrical almost. You know, we go, okay, we'll do a dot here, a dot here, a dot here in straight lines. Well, I found that strawberries aren't necessarily in straight lines. They're a little bit all over the place. Kind of a line. It kind of moves around a little bit. The other thing is the little line with the yellow, the seeds, are slightly straight and vertical on them. Now, depending upon how small we're working, that might not be an option, and I think just a plain old dot is great. But it's good to notice these things. Here the leaves are down and some are up, and the little stem is cute. This is a yellower green than what was on the other photo. So I thought we would do that first, talk about that first, and I'll show you what I did to make some decisions before making this. First thing I did was I thought, okay, I need a red, and I looked at the reds that I have. My favorite red, I have a couple of favorite reds. The first one I wanted to show you is the new sim color. It's called Fire Dragon, and it is gorgeous. I think you can see it pretty well there. But I promised to make a Fire Dragon for Kathy with sim out of it. So I can't use it for this one, but I think it would be really gorgeous. And for a green, they have a new one called Shamrock. I thought those would be really pretty together, but I'm not using either one of those. But I wanted to show you these. I think these are coming out in April. Okay, I'm gonna put those away. And of course I have the effitre, which I love. And I thought about using it, and I would probably use the light red, but I was looking through my stash, and I'm a glass hoarder, and I found some of this red. And this is kind of similar to the Sangre, but this is not made anymore. It's kind of almost vintage. It's from a Russian tanker that somebody I knew in Asheville, North Carolina found and bought a bunch of it, and we bought from him. But what it has is a lot of transparent, and it ends up being kind of translucent tea. So I'm going to show you what it does. So I'm going to use some of it. I call it my Russian glass. I would say that Sangre or one of the effitres would be wonderful, and this would be so pretty in transparent glass as well as in opaque or translucent. So, okay, so we're talking color. And then what I wanted to do was I wanted to see, this is it on a rod, I wanted to see what color I would make the little seeds in it. So I tried this encased stringer, which is effitre ivory with the amber transparent over it. And that color worked fine, but it really stood out a lot. And I thought, okay, do I want to get artsy instead? So I took some of my cased purple that has ink blue in it, and it's okay, but I decided, yeah, I don't know. And I thought about, what if I just used red? So it wouldn't be, I don't want it to stand out a whole lot. I just want it to be there in a pretty way. So I thought red, and I had put a little bit of dichro in it. I thought that might be cool. But the dichro doesn't really show a whole lot. So if you want just kind of the indentation with a little bump on it, maybe a red might be perfect for you. So I kept thinking about it, and I do love this red a whole lot. I hope you can see it okay. So I thought, let me test it on something. So I made a little, I made it sideways, a horizontal hole on it with a flat back, thinking, oh, this might be a fun way to do it. And I thought, for the seeds, I'm going to try something different. So what I tried was some silver glass in there, and I really like that a whole lot. And maybe you guys can post as to which silver glass it is, because of course I used the one that didn't have any tags on it. Is this Helios, do you think? I'm not sure, but that's what I think it might be. If somebody knows, please post, or if somebody has a good idea, let me know. But can you see the shimmer on it? I like that a whole lot. And one of the things that made me want to add the shimmer to it was one of the sources. I don't just look at pictures of strawberries. I promise you I'll light the torch in a minute, but I need to talk while I can think of it. I sometimes look at like vintage jewelry also to get other ideas. Sometimes that gives you some ideas that you wouldn't have thought of. And I tend to like more modern things, but vintage kind of, you're not going to step on anybody's toes. It's not another glass artist. It just kind of sometimes gives you another way of looking at things. And so I think I have a picture. This is an old pin, which I thought was kind of cool. And it showed a way of doing leaves that some were down and some were up. It showed the seeds. It showed a little bit darker indent. So it's kind of interesting that way, and I could see what one person decided to do. And then I also pulled another picture, which I'm okay with it, but it wouldn't be my choice with 2 flowers on it. And this is kind of, I thought it would give you an idea for dots. It looks kind of raspberry, more raspberry than strawberry to me, and then with a little gold in it. But I thought if a person who likes to make beaded beads, that might be another way to say strawberry also. For me, 2 flowers, I'm not sure I like that. I like 3 leaves always, but I think I would have done it differently. But it's still cool to look, and it gives you some ideas. It's got a good shape. It's showing some seeds and artist representation. It's got some leaves in there, so it's kind of fun. Okay, now it's time for me to light the torch. So hang on a sec while I sit down, and we'll get going. So you go ahead and ask any questions, and probably somebody there will be able to answer, somebody else who's watching. If not, when I'm totally done, then I will post this to my wall and answer any questions that I can. The problem is my phone is up above me, up there, and so I can't read what you're saying at the same time while I'm torching. So let's light a torch. This is my miner that needs to be cleaned, but it's easy for me to use, and it's just the right size for smaller things. Okay, so I showed you all my testing in the seats. We talked about shape, we talked about reference photos. And okay, so we're going to talk about holes also. I was just doing a small one that I wanted just to see what the glass looked like in a larger size, but normally I work with a vertical hole for beads. But this, if you were doing a tiny little one, let me just tell you how I did it. I did a basic bead shape, and then I flattened it on the back. I added a little bit more on the top and the bottom of it, and then I added the cap on top. It's pretty easy. The one thing that I was also using this for was testing the size of the holes, the indentations, before I started making seeds. And I have a couple of different pokey tools, and you know, to me it depends on the size of the indentation that you want and the size of the strawberry, because if you have a teeny tiny strawberry, you're going to want teeny tiny holes in there for scale reasons, right? So look around and see what you have. I've got this tool that I use for the smallest. This one I think is my favorite one. I've got this if I were doing a larger scale, and see how wide this one is. That one would work differently for a larger scale also. It's not quite as pointy as the others. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I was looking at. So now we can go ahead and make a little strawberry. I hope all of this is making sense to you. So we're just going to, when I make a bead, let's see, we'll see whether that's the mandrel I use or a different one. I don't know why I have a preference. I like this one better for some reason. I'm just heating my glass. And I don't work with a lot of red except at holidays, you know, so I don't keep a large inventory of it. I like red, I tend to go to other colors more often. And I'm using blue Dip and Go sludge, or whatever it's called now. I think it's actually the original one, because I tend to stock up on things sometimes if I really like it. And I heard they were changing it a little bit, and I thought, well, I know I love this kind, so I'll just get that. And we're essentially making a cone that gets a little bit slimmer at the other end. So I'm just laying it on, and it's perpendicular, right? You apply the glass perpendicular, your glass goes through the flame. I know you guys know this, but I'm still going to say it anyhow. going to make this good sized. I stop there just for a sec and heat it up and marver it a little bit. And I tend to heat below the flame, so just part of it is going into the flame. You know, with reds, you have to be just a tiny bit more careful. I don't know about you, but sometimes my reds get a little bit darker after I've been using them. Does that happen to any of you? And I'm marvering. See, we just have a basic cone right there so far. So we want this part, the top section, I'm leaving the bottom cooler, the top section, we're going to marver in just a little bit. And then round it up. Isn't that fast? If I were normally doing this, I would probably use a 1/16 mandrel. And the reason why is because you can get so much skinnier on the bottom, can't you? And I tend to like that. So the next question is, do we leave it this shape, which is pretty close? Or do we flatten the back side? Are we good? How do we want to use this, wear it, or whatever? And I'm just going to keep this roundish. And I'm going to decide which tool I'm going to make holes with. And I'm also going to grab a green. So I have this green that's just the Effitrade grass green and pea green together. I put one stripe of pea green there so that I have a little bit of contrast. But this is the main color I want to use. And then I just add a little bit of extra of the other. And I think what I want to do, if it doesn't explode all over me, is make a wrap right up there. So I'm heating the glass where it's going to go and the mandrel. And I'm heating the glass itself. And I just touch down and slowly go round in a circle. Then I heat the bottom because don't forget that's probably gotten chilly already. Okay, so this doesn't look so pretty right now, but we can make it look a lot prettier. Here we go. We're just going to heat it up and roll it on the marver. And I wasn't too worried about getting all of it up into the little stem part because we're going to make those leaves that come out. So it doesn't need to be perfect. But I want to get the indents and the seeds in first. So I'm just going to do some. I'm not going to do tons and tons like we saw in the photo, because you want to indicate that something's going on. You don't need to do exact, or at least I feel that way. So let's heat up a section, make some holes, and we're going to heat up the next section over and see where the other holes are and add some more in. I don't want them to match up with the holes before them. Forget to keep your bead warm, especially this little part right up here, because it will get cold faster than everything else, right? So, everybody coping okay? You're already planning what you're going to do once everybody is healthy and away from the virus again? I don't know whether we want to go on a trip somewhere, I think just feel comfortable going out wherever we want to go. Made all the little holes there. This is so fast, isn't it? Woohoo! Let's add a few little leaves, and then I'll add the silver glass dots. So do I want to go a little higher? That's uneven there. We'll do just another little wrap around there. Make it a little bit thicker. And while that was cooling for a sec, I think you guys all know that I'm a lefty also. That probably is pretty easy to tell, but I just thought I would mention that if you haven't watched me before. And I do have a YouTube channel. If you just search under Marcy Lamberson, I've got a couple of beads and stuff that I make on there. And I'm also on Instagram. Please follow me, and you can find me under Marcy Lamberson there. I know, what a coincidence. I use my own name. I do have an Etsy shop, but I haven't added anything to it in a while. And I do have a group on Facebook under Glass Art and Beads by Marcy Lamberson. So if you want to join that, when I have beads up for sale that isn't one of my normal shows, they often go in there, and it also tells you when my online shows are. Okay, so I want to add the silver glass into this. And have you guys figured out what it is? I hope so. So we're just going to make some little dots inside of the holes, and I'm going to heat up just a little section of it at a time. And the heck with the little straight line seeds. I'm just lucky to get glass in the holes. You know, I'm not the youngest person around, and I kind of wonder whether one of these days I'm just going to miss anyhow. Oops, lost it. And if you know me, I hate wasting glass, so I just picked it up, and I'm going to reheat that and pull this section. Have any of you been making something different than what you normally make? Have you changed what you like to make? Now this is too long for me. I'm just going to dump part of it. Okay. A little thinner. Yeah, some of it I must have gotten in too close, and it's already changed colors. I am resting my hand up against my torch-mounted marver. I think you can see that. It helps steady my hand a little bit, which I tend to need. It is less than 2 months until my birthday. I know, we're going to have a party online. And I'm going to be fundraising for the Beads of Courage, and I hope you join me. It's one of those important birthdays because I am getting ancient. And I hope you will, if you are able to, help donate a little bit to Beads of Courage. I can imagine that their fundraising is probably not of primary importance to everybody, and yet they need the money also. So I just thought I'd mention that now. Now, on my other one, I liked putting a little bit of the silver glass on the leaves and the stem also. So let's just add a little bit there, a little shimmer. I'm a fan of shimmer. And is anybody buying glass and hoarding a little bit more? I find that I want to shop online, and I have to be really careful. Let's add a little bit on the stem too. Why not? I'm going to melt that in a tiny bit. And look, it's already partially reduced, so let's just get the last of it reduced. So I'm just changing the oxygen a little bit. You can see the flame. I'm letting my bead cool just a tiny bit. I go out in the flame and add a touch of shimmer. Oh, I love this. And that, my friends, is a strawberry. if you want to stay tuned, I'm going to make a strawberry coach. I'm not sure what we're going to put in it. We're going to have to figure that out and make it another time. So this bead's going into the kiln. I'm going to turn this off just for a sec and get my other red glass out because we're going to need a bit of it. And so some of you have seen I have bunnies in the carrot cars. I happen to have a dog that would fit in. I haven't cleaned this out. But this is essentially what my carrot car looks like. And I thought that we could make a little rounder type strawberry coach with some little wheels on it also. And I was thinking maybe like a little fairy to go inside. We aren't going to make the fairy today, but if you have ideas, maybe a little mouse inside of it, something, please post and let me know. And also, if you're watching, let me know that you're here so that I can see who watched. And these were some of the flowers I was working on, but we got a change, as I mentioned. If you didn't catch that, next Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern time is when we'll do some flowers also. So just so you know that I won't forget, we're still going to do it. We just got to change the timing a little bit. So I was thinking a strawberry coach sounds like fun. What I used to make that, did anybody else buy these mandrels? They were for rings, or some of them are thimbles. You know, there's a variety of these kind of larger mandrels. So I dip them and I go, okay, what else can we make with these? Because I found that, first of all, I don't sell, there isn't a large market for thimbles. Maybe there is these days, I don't know. But there wasn't when I was doing it. And being sculptural, I wanted to put stuff all over it instead of keeping it as a thimble. So I had to come up with other ideas. So we're going to make a strawberry shape, and this will be the top up here, and then it will come down around the bottom. And we'll do the indentations and the silver glass and some leaves and stuff. And I want to add on also some wheels. And I'm thinking that we might do white wheels. Let me see what I've got white around here. Let's use this white, Effitre white, and a little bit of yellow. I have some encased yellow because that's what I'm thinking we might need also for the wheels. So maybe this one. These are my materials. Okay, so now you can see what we're going to use, and let's light up the torch again and get started. It's getting warm in here. Okay, here we go. And if you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for spending your time with me. I see we're at 3:30 our time. Let's see whether we can get this done in half an hour. So one of the hardest things using these larger mandrels to me is heating them up enough and then heating up enough glass to put on it so that you can wrap around it. This is not the easiest mandrel for me to use. So let's heat up a bunch of this rod. Isn't that a yummy color? I just love that. And we'll start adding some glass. But I like to melt some of this glass so that I can try and do at least close to a wrap, if not a wrap, around it to start. So here we go. Yay, we made it all the way around. And I'm going to heat that up and marver it just a tiny bit. We're going to keep going, covering it. It takes a little bit to do that. I have bigger torches, and I use them sometimes, but this miter works just fine for me for a lot of it. So I'm thinking, how large do we want to go? How deep do we want to go? And sometimes it's just getting a straight line around there, or close to a straight line. I think I want it a little larger, and I also want to be sure that this red strikes. Because boy, that would look terrible being able to see the mandrel underneath it. And it usually does. We'll just come out a little bit, let it cool, and then we'll go back in while I'm heating the glass. So I'm heating it up and I'm going to marver it. Then we'll see what we need to do. I think we need to make it a little bit taller, so it looks a little more strawberry-like. And the red is striking, and that's helpful. If your hand tends to get tired when you're using a bigger mandrel like this, you could take like a coffee can or something like that and rest your wrist on it, and that helps sometimes. Okay, marver this. Keep going. What do you think? Is that close, or should we make it a little bit bigger? I'm thinking a touch bigger and a touch more pointy on the bottom. So when you're making all of these decisions, I know that the piece that I'm going to put inside is going to have a longer body, because the bottom of it is way down there. So it's going to be a long body, and then whatever I want to stick out above it. And I hope you guys are posting ideas of what should go inside of the strawberry mobile. I don't know why, but it made me think of Cinderella's coach. Not that it's pretty like that or anything, but it was just kind of the upright, roundy part of it, I think. We're heating it up, and we're marvering. So, if it's not perfect, here's the deal. It's okay. It's nice to get it perfect, but it's really hard. So what I'm thinking is we can always add some green to the top and some leaves that will disguise if you have an uneven edge, and then people won't know the difference, right? So you have a plan B to start with. I tell some of my classes that it's kind of like theater. It's not always exactly what you think you see. Sometimes you gotta disguise a little bit of it. So when you're looking at this shape, you're probably thinking of other types of vehicles that you can make too. If you make any of these, I hope you'll message me and show me your pictures of what you've made. I would love to see them. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit to the bottom, which means our wheels are going to have to be a little bigger, right? But I want it to be strawberry shaped, or semi-strawberry shaped, and I'm holding it on an angle down because that's the way I want the glass to go. Okay, let's heat up this part, see whether we can strike it. What do you think? Close? Should we go out a little bit before it goes in? That's kind of a strawberry thing to do. I want a nice wide rim along there. You have less chance of it being sharp. Let's add a little extra width here. It's going to be one of those fatty strawberries. Okay, and we'll melt that in. First I'm going to melt one side. I want it to kind of flow down in that direction a little bit. If you guys have seen other videos online that people are doing teaching and you want to post it for others in this thread, you're welcome to do that too. Chat with each other, let everybody know how you're doing. I kind of want this to be a community type thing, that people feel comfortable and feel fellowship. Okay, so we've got our strawberry shape. Now we've got to make all the indentations, and this is a little bit larger, but I think this one is still fine to use. I want to make sure that my lines are smooth first. So that's what I'm checking first. And it looks pretty smooth to me, and it's not exactly symmetrical, and I like that because most of the strawberries I see are kind of wonky to begin with. So I'm going to heat one section at a time and add some indentations. And then heat another section, and away we go, huh? Oops, not hot enough. If your indenter doesn't indent easily, it means that you need to heat your glass a little more. Strawberries. You know, next time I go to the grocery store, which I don't go very often, next time I go, I'm going to see whether there are some. Not only do I want to look at them up close and in person, but I'm beginning to get a hankering for it. I was thinking the other day, when I went to college, what they call it, the freshman 15 from eating too much. I'm kind of feeling like we've got the COVID-19 these days. Oh boy. Back to salads. Okay, so we've got some indentations. I hope you can see them. The light is catching it. And we need to add some greenery around it also. And we've got the pea green and grass green here. So what I want to be careful with is, I'm thinking something's going to need to be fitting in and possibly hanging over the side just a little bit. So I'm going to be carefully adding, first of all, a line across the top. See the angle that I'm holding it? Ha, look at that. Nailed it. And let's just, this gives you a chance to even things just a little bit more too, especially if you leave it a little bit raised. And let's add some little leaves also. See, I think maybe I need to add my dots first and then add the leaves, just in case I start to cover something. And I have a little bit of skinny left, but I need to make some more. So we're going to keep the strawberry warm while my silver glass does its own thing. And then we're going to pull it and add the dots, and then we'll add some leaves. And we need to add some wheels too, don't we? So you got options on the wheels. I haven't exactly decided. I thought red would blend. I could do clear even, and that would kind of disappear a little bit more. Or if I did white with yellow, I could do them kind of like the little flowers that go with strawberries. While I'm working on this, if anybody wants to discuss that, let me know what you think, and I'll see whether the decision I made is the one that you guys thought was the right one also. Okay. I always get rid of all the extra that sounds funny, and then I go back and use it, but I don't like having a really long stringer that I can't hold in my hands as easily. So I go back to a lesser amount. and thin it out some more. And let's keep this nice and warm. I see the glow as soon as I put it in the flame, which tells me that it's staying warm enough. So, fix my torch-mounted marber. So does anybody play pantry roulette for their meals? I'm going to heat this up a little bit more. Some days we go in and we go, okay, close your eyes and put your hands on something. Okay, you got to make a meal that this is in. Got some pretty interesting stuff. Warm it up out in the back of the flame. Heat this up. You can heat up some of this and use some of that. You know me and waste. Oops. Pulled it right off. Boop. You make that boop sound, falls right off. Okay, let's see. I see where we're going next. This part isn't too exciting, is it? I think I missed there. What happens when you do bigger strawberries, huh? This one I can use up. I love the little bit of shimmer on it. And at the end, we're going to need to look through and see whether I missed any spots, because we don't want that. This is not seedless. Okay, keep it warm. I have, one of these times I'll show you what my lighting system is. Not all of you have seen that before, but I have lights within my exhaust system, which is really nice, and I can angle them around, and that helps a lot. I think we got all of them. Oh, we were talking about, or I was talking about, what we're going to do when this is over. One of the things is I'm going to go visit my kids, I think. Boy, nothing like not being able to see them that makes you want to see them. So, I'm trying to figure out, if I put 4 little wheels, it's going to cover all the bottom of the strawberry if I do it in white. What if I did 2 wheels in the shimmery color, maybe 4 small wheels, maybe just dots that we flatten a little bit. I hate covering up any of the strawberry. You guys probably have an idea of what I should have done and have posted it, and it's going to be too late. I might just have to make a second one. Okay, so we need a dot on this edge. I've got an old stump shaper that I use. It's brass. So there's one. I don't know. Might not be enough room. This might be a strawberry cart, and we're going to have somebody. Oh, that could be fun. Might have to have an animal, like some goats in pajamas, pulling it or something like that. What do you think of that? What if we just make this into a cart? Let's keep it warm. And see, I just flattened the little dots, but I can see that they aren't even across. When I put this on here, I need to add a tiny bit more to this side. Okay, we're gonna make this into a cart, and I need to make these wheels probably flat on the bottom to help support it. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I make them a little larger and a little wider. This might be a multi-week thing. I'm going to flatten them a tiny bit. And that's not connected well enough, so let me just get that glass all connected on each side. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that it stands up. So I'm going to heat up the bottom of it so it will be able to rest, I hope. And I'm just slightly pressing down. So they're flat on the bottom. Hope you can see that. Okay, so then the last we're gonna do is add, oh, that's gonna be pretty. We're gonna add a couple little leaves around the edges also. And then we've got a strawberry carriage. I don't know what it is. You guys can decide. Just remember to keep it nice and warm. So some of them are going to come up, most of them are going to go down. I'm just adding some little leaves. And I'm trying to avoid the silver glass because, gosh, if you're going to use it, you might as well have it show, right? Everything warm enough. That's kind of cute. Keep it warm, keep it warm, keep it warm. So you see the ones that are going up aren't going up too far and they're kind of staying, they aren't going in towards the mandrel. Okay, so let's give it just a little bit of a reduction flame, although that's really pretty just the way it is. And that, my friends, is this week's Thursday at 3 with Marcy. Oh, we did that in 20 minutes. Yay us. And I will show you tomorrow when it comes out, and maybe I need to know what you're thinking should go inside, and then I'm going to ask for input on my page as to what kind of animal you think or some other form of conveyance for it. Oh, look at that beautiful shimmer. That's just gorgeous. Okay. Hey, thanks for joining me. Don't forget to join my private group, Glass Art and Beads by Marcy Lamberson on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Marcy Lamberson, and YouTube, Marcy Lamberson. And I love to teach private lessons or at a glass studio near you. Hope you have a good rest of the week, and look tomorrow for that special request from the artist from Rome. It will be on my page too. Take care. Bye. Take care of yourselves.